Hey guys, so continuing on, so I have a setup for my scenery within my little dice box, hidden scenery here in the dice box itself. So I'm going to set this aside for now because this will be the last thing I'm going to do. So I have at least that set up for now, and I'm happy with where that's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and continue working on the top half of this and kind of getting more of the details in here. So we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of liking, I don't know, you probably can't see it very well, but there are little lines here that kind of making the shapes around and such along with some of these here, which I'm going to use that probably as reference or at least to build into. So we're just going to go ahead and use up some decoupage as the layering for this to build up some of the gradual sand dunes and such in here. And that's kind of the plan. So there we go. So anyway, that's what we're going to keep working on, fellas and ladies and gents. So, oh, also off camera, I posted some pictures on my Instagram and thread as well. I added this little ledge here, which is actually a perfect cover right for which is actually the nice cover for this. So let me, I'll show you guys how that all looks together once I have more of this taken care of. So we're going to go ahead and keep going. let this prim proper dry. And hopefully I can show you guys what this is looking like after this prim proper dries. And that's the part that's going to matter here. I want to try to make this as wavy as possible. That's kind of the idea. I want to have this look at least wavy and smoothed in as much as I possibly can to get it as close to a realistic build as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to see how this looks with these guys on it at least. So, ooh, sand on the nose. Oh, no. Okay, so let's get some of this on. Yeah, I mean, I also have I have a spray glue as well, which would kind of act as a sealer over this whole thing once it's all together. So let's just see how some of this looks, because I also need to build up along here as well. So, but let's see here. Yep, and I gotta build a little here. Okay, so let's put this guy where he belongs, next guy where he belongs. Okay. I'm liking how some of the backside's looking here. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Getting a better look at this, which is what I want. I want to be able to have a better look. Whoops. A little too thin. Over top. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking how some of that's looking. It's got a little nice angle piece here, which is exactly actually what I wanted. Okay, so I need to build up a little here. So I think up this a little bit. Drop that one a little. There we go. There we go. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Another kind of weird disruption, kind of a thinner sand layer here. Let's see here. Okay. Come back. There we go. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Yes, there we go. Okay. Brush out the excess a little bit, just for now. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Kind of liking this. I'm liking how that's turning out right now. So, I think the next thing I'm going to do while I'm waiting for it to dry, weirdly enough, is I think I'm going to set my pins for the base of this to go in here. So, I have my, yes, should be in here. Ah, yes, here it is. Take my base glue here, take some nice staples, and I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick it through the bottom here. I think I'm going to stick it through the bottom of this. And realistically, I think all I need is 2 points of contact to hold the larger piece in place here. That's what I think I'm going to need. There we go. Try to utilize the shape here to shape the sand, how it builds up against it a little bit. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I might just do that spray glue on top too, see how that goes. And luckily I don't have to be super close. I can just do it from the top. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pluck these guys off and go ahead and do that. Probably after I do my build up here, probably smooth this out a little bit more. I'm going to smooth this transition out, probably smooth this transition here out. Yeah, so I'm going to get at least most of these guys off and then keep working on smoothing out the transition. There we go. There we go. Okay. Come on. Here we go. Okay. Move that aside. Let's go ahead and get some glue on the top and try to at least seal some of the shape here. Pretty happy with it, actually. I'm happy with how a lot of that came out. Get some of this out of there. There we go. Reshape some of that. There we go. There we go. Okay, now, here's what I have. So I have a nice spray glue, and it's called Smart Grip Multi-Purpose. It is a dry clear, so we'll see how this goes. A lot of people might use like a sealer and stuff of that nature. I have one, but the thing is, it's meant for a styrofoam setup, so that way it doesn't dissolve styrofoam. But I'm saving that for the really big project. And that's where I want to go. So, I can do this at a good height. I should be able to do this, seal this in position. So, make sure I got all the necessary pea sand out where I don't want it. At least as far as inside my little spaces here. I don't need it to take up space. I don't need it eating up my space. For the inserts of my guys here. And of course, that's what I'm running into now. So I may have to do something, but let's see here. Let's see how that comes out. There we go. I want this as close to up against this as possible. There we go. Okay. So, there we go. Okay. And as long as this one sits good. Oh, yeah, I'm good. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay, crisis averted. It ain't pretty, but I think it'll do. Here we go. All right, well, like I said, wasn't going to be pretty, but that's okay. So I got at least where I wanted it, and at least it's over the top of this, which is what I wanted. So, and it should hold everything in relative position, which is, again, what I'm hoping for. So, I can just clean off some of the other excess glue and over top of that, like so. Ugh. There we go. Okay, now, there we go. Okay. Oh, cute. Well, I see how that's going to be. Well, a good thing is, with it the way it is, with this kind of glue on it, strangely enough, I can shape it. So it kind of becomes like modeling clay almost, which is pretty neat. And actually a nice happy accident too, at the same time. So, let's do that. All right, let's go ahead and get some gloves and go from there. Probably just a light coating of fresh sand to kind of do this up a little bit. To smooth this out just a hair more. I think that's all I'm going to need to do to kind of finish the repairs on some of this. And luckily also, I'm kind of glad it happened because it allowed me to at least look at this and go, oh, hold on a minute. The wind would be blowing, yes, but it wouldn't necessarily make it would make some shapes, but not every shape. So basically like a little dune hill could look different if it was blown along in here as it was wimping this way along to make the curvatures as it rolled along. So I think another thing too is that having the raised sections of this will also play into allowing some dry brush work also to really kind of brighten up the highlighted sections of this. There we go. Kind of help reshape that. So we're just gonna coat it, and then I will go ahead and collect the remnants after the rest of this kind of dries off, so to speak. So nice little fresh coat. Here we go. Little fresh coat on here. And I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. And probably going to let that dry overnight. And then go ahead and pull it off in the morning. And we'll go ahead and pull it off in the morning. But at least this worked the way I hoped. It actually, a lot of it held together. I probably had it a little too wet in some areas and things of that nature. But again, live and learn. This is all a learning process for me. I mean, doing basically doing this kind of texturing and all that kind of stuff, it's a totally different world to just having a pre-prepared kind of a terrain kind of texturing. It's a whole different kettle of fish. So I'm glad I'm going through this because so another little rundown real quick with my planned large game board that I'm planning is a desert world. I am planning a desert I'm planning a desert kind of feature. There we go. Okay, good thing I'm doing that. So I can figure out where you're sitting. Perfect. Okay. Anyway, so like I said, doing this is going to allow me to have a better understanding of what to use and how to plan for the desert scene I'm planning for the game board I want to build. So having this knowledge and practice and better understanding of what works, what doesn't. I mean, you could go over every single YouTube video you want, but until you actually use it in practice or find what you're looking for, it's realistically studying it and learning it. It's all theory. That's what the idea of a study. You're studying a theory of someone that uses a method with a certain things, but you try it yourself and it doesn't necessarily come out the way they have it work. And you go, okay, what does work? What can work? That is the biggest thing I'm hoping to come out of this for anybody. So anyhow, I gotta see if I can find oh, here it is in front of my face. So anyway, I'm gonna let this probably dry overnight, and then I will proceed with collecting the excess, knocking off excess, and pretty much have another good look at it once it's there. So bear with me, guys, and we'll continue on. Hey guys, so this is the ending result so far after the last segment I had. It's been a couple days, and basically I've just been trying to smooth it out a little bit. It's not perfect, but honestly, I'm kind of liking the texture of it, some of the shadows and things of that nature, how some of the pieces kind of blend in with how it looks. There we go. Line myself up there. There we go. Now, anyway, so I also managed to actually get my staples in on this piece as well. Let me see if I can turn her over here. See if I can still do my trick. Not quite. Anyway, but yeah. So I got my two staples in to hold this in place. And obviously I have these down. They're not glued or anything yet. I got to prime my gray pieces, get them ready for paint. And I've also got to prime the box. And I think I'm going to leave this dice box here, this little center section. I'm going to leave it plain, so that way at least you can distinguish one from the other. But that's what I got going there. So there's going to be some fun, last minute details that I'm going to try to take care of during this. Let's see. There we go. Maybe if I switch spots with these, that might work. Let's see. There we go. That's better. Yeah, maybe switch spots. That's all right. They're the same size, so that's what helps with that. Also, building out the ridges here, I still got to figure out a way to smooth those out a little bit. Maybe I can build a little bit more of a ridge or a gap filler of some kind, perhaps. But in honesty, these are models that are going to be played, so I don't know what all will happen at the end of it. But let's see here. Let me see if I can turn that. There we go. So, oops. Oh no, I knocked it over. Terrible. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, we can see some of the ridge here and here, kind of how the sand would blow against here. So I'm kind of happy with it. I've got a little bit of stuff going on here, which I'm kind of liking. Again, there's another ridge under there. Like I said, I'm kind of liking where it's going. I like also the texturing going on with the little raised lumps and stuff of that nature. So I can kind of try to take some dry paint. I can brush that right over, and it'll add a little more highlight to it, and maybe I'll be able to do something with that. So we'll see how that goes. But I think today we're going to go ahead and start working underneath. So that's pretty much the plan today. So anyway, I'm going to be flipping you guys over and hanging you up so I can go ahead and get ready to start priming and things of that nature. So get ready for a ride. All right. So I could use the white primer here, but of course, with a lot of things made by Games Workshop or other kind of miniature primers, they're meant for that, the actual miniature primers. So I do have, as a backup also, you can use these. You just have to use them in a lighter coat, but since I'm using this on a structural piece, it'll work out better. So I'm going to get these shooken up, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pretty much tape off as much as possible. I'm going to tape off the areas I need to make sure I don't overspray into any of these and throw things off. Also, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use these as marker points to make sure I know where exactly my things are going. So that way I can line this all up and glue it down once they're done. So we're going to get going. Yeah, cleaners. Tape. Convenient. Oop, wait a minute. there's that. Now, ooh, excuse me. Okay. There we go. All right. So, gonna let this primer set. It'll probably be a little while before it's completely done. But, just a little thing here. So the little pieces that I took on the inside where I placed things, I did that on purpose to not necessarily cover everything, like the entire shading. There might be one, there's probably the one closest to where the sarcophagus is going to be, but I didn't do a perfect fit, but that's fine because it's going to be just reference points. That's what they're going to be, reference points for when I actually glue the final pieces into position. Same thing up here, which I can just as easily, once I have these primed, then I could go ahead. Once the primer dries, I can actually remark with just tinier pieces of tape for reference, or even just put lines in, just little things just to make sure that I know where everything's going to be as far as wall wise. Now I didn't do that here. However, I can still see my lines on these, which is perfectly fine. I'm fine with seeing it. It's going to get fully covered later on, and I'll still have my reference points, which is just fine with me. Now I'll know for sure if any overspray got through here, and if anything, I can always kind of sand it back pretty easy. Primer is pretty easy to sand back when it's really thin. So either way, I'm pretty happy with that so far. Just gonna let that dry out, and hopefully I can continue. I'm gonna let it dry out and finish airing out at the same time, so that way I can get ready to start these, which I am going to do probably, which I will do in the white prime, just so I have some differential here where it's a darker room, which is fine, and I'll have these light here because there is something I do want to try. I want to try to do a look and see what it does, because if I can make it work, it'll actually be really, really neat, because it's something I want to do for my bigger displays down the road. Now, if any of you have not seen my post yet on my channel, there is a channel that I subscribe to. It's called Squigmar Miniatures, or just Squigmar. Either way, you do Squigmar or Squigmar Miniatures, you will find the channel on YouTube. Last year, they did their very first open paint competition. I did not enter last year. I had pieces. So one of my pieces that I had this. It was one of my first pieces I did over a year ago now. And this was my long project that I was working on. So I didn't enter it though. I didn't feel like I was really ready yet. And then when I started doing this content for this miniature build contents for the channel, I've been getting a lot of support. It's been amazing. Thank you guys. I hope I can continue getting the support. Since I hit the goal for the live show, that's awesome. I love that. Now there's another goal I want to hit. I want to be able to hit 500 subscribers. I want to keep pushing to that level. If I can keep pushing to that level, I might be able to expand things. And hopefully, as that happens, things will start happening. The channel will start changing a little bit as far as, you know, equipment and things of that nature. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time. And I'm good with that. But back to the competition, though. So entering the competition this year, I did do this miniature as the single. I decided to enter that because, you know, why not? I decided to do it. So, what is going on here? That's annoying. There we go. Sad. Anyway. There we go. But, so when I decided to do the competition, because after I started doing the channel content here with the miniature builds, so doing that tiny little miniature of the sniper scout, and then moving on to my kill team diorama that I did, it's like, you know what? Look, I'm just an amateur, and these guys are doing it for everyone, and from beginner and amateur, all the way up to the masters. So all the way up to the most experienced people in the world. And I'm just like, screw it, why not? I don't have necessarily a local painting competition that happens all the time. So I wanted to do it just to see what would happen. So that's what I got. And so entries are still going. They are accepting entries until it's January 31st of 2026. So it's all through December and then all of January. So you have just over 30 days. So you still have 30 days to still enter. Give me a second here so I can. So yeah, you still have like 30 days to enter. Now, I do have a link in my post on my channel if you want to go watch the video of them discussing the open. They have the links and everything. Now, there is a change that's coming up right now. They are moving to a different system, which is perfectly fine. Anybody who has an entry is perfectly safe right now. They're just moving it to a different system for this year. And honestly, I'm cool with that too. So again, it's my first competition I've ever entered for painting at all. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see what comes of it. And yeah, so again, I'm not the greatest painter and all that. And many people will say that for sure. So I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, thank you for the support. Thank you. We're going to continue this build. And depending, because I have things in the works, I have enough miniatures I've gotten in some trades to do 3 separate projects. So depending on what happens this coming year, I might just take the time to set up a new sets of miniatures, new sets of pieces for entering the Squigmar Open again on next year. If they decide to. I hope they do. It's absolutely awesome what these guys do. They're the only online one that I am aware of. So it's absolutely amazing. I can't wait. So yeah, you can tell I'm excited. So anyway, thank you for the support, guys. And like I said, my next goal, since we got to the live streaming availability, which is amazing. I love it. Thank you guys again for all of that support and continued support. So from here, my next goal is to try to hit 500. I would love to hit 500 subscribers. If I hit 500 subscribers, and then there's a few other things too to start the YouTube partnership stuff. So I'm hoping to reach it. It'd be great. I really would love it. It would be a dream come true that I'd be able to work from home and do what I love and not have to constantly work myself to death for absolutely nothing. So at least I could be working on something that I love to do. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And we're going to keep getting on this build. And the next segment will be, at least with once the primer's dry and this place is aired out a bit, I'm going to be priming the plastic pieces here for the display and such. And once I have those together, I'll be able to paint that, and I'll be setting this up also to add some textures and things of that nature. And like I said, there's something I want to experiment with, and I would love to get everybody's opinion on. So thank you guys again. Catch you in the next bit here.